Go bigger than a hell raid, moves like you hurt on the decks. Glover hold the court and give the chief no suspect. Politics in the mix, like Gumbo Stewart Rich. Spinning tales from Black Wall Street, real life's the pitch. Donnie Glover Show, be more news. 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 Business tips hotter than lava. Got that Midas touch. Stocks and blocks teaching youngins how to clutch. Ears to the concrete, finger on the pulse. Dropping wisdom like Hova, each word a joke. Donnie Glover Show, be more news. 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 Walls painted black, history on lock. Blast off from Tulsa, rebirth like a clock. Markets rising from ashes to gains. Donnie the narrator, truth runs in veins. Donnie Glover Show, be more news. Donnie Glover Show.
First name's Donnie, last name's Glover. In it to win it for the long haul, baby. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Got Mr. Doug here. Got Mr. Danny. Top of the day to you. You're muted, Doug.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen.
All right, how you feel?
Good morning. How are you gentlemen doing?
Doing all
good.
right.
Hey, real quick, I just had some bad news yesterday. My nephew, who works for Caltrans out here in California, finishing up his shift, going into the yard, had a massive medical problem while driving on the freeway. Just passed out, drifted over, and he's deceased. I may be a little tired this morning because I've been dealing with that family, with the family trying to. But yeah, he was only 39 years old. Never smoked, never drank, and his mom just passed away last year. So but I told myself I have had maybe about an hour or two sleep, but I can't let Donnie down.
Doug, thank you for showing up. Our prayers are with you.
Thank you. Good young man.
Let's have a moment of silence for him. What's his name?
Charles D. Johnson. Charles D. Johnson. Very, very fine young man. Never got in any trouble. It's a tragic loss. Tragic loss.
Ashe.
Well, the irony of it is that I was taking a friend of mine to the airport, and I drove right by the accident on the other side of the freeway, and I kept saying, "Wow, it's a lot of cars." That was him. That was him.
Mr. Dashiell, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Good morning, Donnie, Danny, Doug, and others. I'm okay this morning. How are you?
Man, I'm so glad to be in the land of the living. A lot of people, like Doug just said, did not wake up this morning.
Yeah, it's true. That is absolutely true. One of my first law clerks passed away this week. In fact, his funeral is on Wednesday. So it's that season, Donnie.
Well, let me just say to you, gentlemen, that I am glad to have you in my life.
Amen.
Same here.
Amen.
Same here.
All right, let's get it popping. So, Danny, what's happening out there in Baltimore County?
My
and
God.
Did you get your ticket to the Donnie Glover 6.0? I didn't see you get your ticket yet.
No, I hadn't got the ticket yet. It's kind of, I'm trying to move my father from North Carolina back to Maryland. So I've been kind of busy with that. But if I'm here, I will get a ticket, Donnie.
Hey, you said you brought your dad back from the Carolinas?
No, well, yes. He's in North Carolina. He's in Rocky Mount, to be exact. when he retired from Baltimore County Public Schools, he went to North Carolina and built a home where he was born. And so it's time for him to come back. So it's been tough trying to convince him, but he needs to be closer to the family.
My dad was like that. I
His
said, Dad, you want to come live with
that he
us?
went
He's
down
like,
there,
hell
but
no.
yeah.
You know, that old generation, they rather go off by themselves than to be
They were the
dependent
fighting
on
spirit.
somebody. They don't like being dependent on people.
Yeah. Tough.
All right, Mr.
So as far as
Dashiell,
what's going on in Baltimore
happening?
County, the biggest issue.
Oh, I'm sorry, Danny. I thought you were done.
What would you say, Danny?
No, I thought he was talking about, you asked me what was going on in Baltimore County. The biggest thing going on out here is the redistricting that's been going on. The final leg of that is happening as we speak. The county council is going to get the recommendation from the commission, and it's kind of rigged. It's been rigged, and takes a majority of votes from the council, and I think Izzy has that number. So
What? Izzy has what?
he has the votes. He has the votes, the same votes that he had to get it to be 2 more council seats. It's the same votes he's going to have when they vote on the final decision for the map for the 2 additional council seats.
Okay, are you going
which
to
is
get
3 Republicans and 2 Democrats.
Are you going to get 2 more seats or 4 more seats?
2. 4 is gone. It's 2. They have 2. 2 was already voted on, and it's a done deal. It's the map, the gerrymandering map that they put together behind closed doors when it was initially presented.
You saying that map is going to pass?
That map is gone. Well, that map is gone. They put a commission together to put to draw a new map. But, you had the ACLU, you have Linda's map, which is called the Woodlawn Way, and I think it's one other map.
So the Woodlawn map lost. I'm
going to say it probably did. Because they had it all. It's all, to me, it's my opinion. It's already been decided. They're just going through the procedures. That's all.
So that means that
you know anything about it, Mr. Dashiell?
Hold up, Danny. That means that Baltimore County Black people, in all of the news coverage we gave of this Woodlawn map, that Black people do not have the power or have not garnered the power to make a change in Baltimore County. Y'all let Izzy Matoka come out there and take y'all money. That's what you're telling me.
What I'm telling you,
Izzy took your money.
What I'm telling you is that votes matter.
He stood on the same corner that he been taking y'all lunch money and said, I'm going to take your money again. And then y'all talking about running somebody against them for county executive. I'm very disappointed, Danny. I'm not blaming you, but I do have a specific question. What are all of those damn letters after your name?
Oh, that's the CCACGR. That's the Combined Community Advocacy Council of Greater Randallstown. It's a organization out here that I've co-founded and I'm the chair of. It's a community-based grassroots organization in our 10th year.
Greater Randallstown.
15th year, sorry. We started in 2010.
Greater Randallstown. That might be Little Randallstown. You might want to change that G to an L. Y'all let Izzy come out there and take y'all chump change. Mr. Dashiell, what they doing out there? Mr. Dashiell, don't you know about Baltimore County?
I know about 4011 Bedford Road. That's where I live. Donnie, the most significant thing that other, because I think Danny's right. I mean, that was a map that was even append to the original bill creating the two districts, and there was some litigation over whether or not it was appropriate to have that map
Right.
attached. But the most significant thing, the thing that has got very little press that I can see so far, is the lawsuit that was brought to challenge the so-called closed primary system throughout
Oh,
the state.
Boyd Rutherford and them.
Yeah, and I don't mind telling you, I've offered to assist the board in that effort should he need it, so he knows that that door is open. The closed primary combined with the electoral college, and I know that we're going beyond Baltimore County. I'm going beyond Baltimore County in that discussion, but the combination of those things is what effectively takes away the power of the people to decide who the elected officials are going to be, either at the local or certainly at the presidential level. So I wish him much success in that effort, and quite frankly, I'm never anticipating any real success for Black people as long as we remain beholden to this notion that we have only two choices, Republican or Democrat. As long as we stay locked in that box, we can never prevail. We can never prevail. So, and I'm pretty much talked out on that topic, Donnie. I've talked about it day and night, 24 hours, and I'm just convinced that everybody isn't going to make it. That if the Lord saw fit to move on with a remnant, I can't do better. I can't do better than Him. I'm just talking to those who are. I'm talking to those who are willing to follow, and praying for those who are not.
My God, this is the day. This is the gloomiest show we've ever had. This is gloom and doom. Damn, Doug, what's happening in LA? I heard they bucking on ISIS out there. The people are protesting. What's happening in LA? You out there on the West Coast? Are you muted, Doug?
I'm in Northern California, but my contacts down there are telling me that Trump had put out the National Guard, 2,000 men for not even a worthwhile task force. The LA has, I think it's like 10 or 11,000 police officers, so they didn't need any help. But
No, they did.
well, what's going on in this country right now is called deflection. He's got this ICE thing going on here and all across the country. In addition to that, he's taken billions of dollars away from our university and our California State University. And one thing I like about Governor Gavin Newsom is that he said, "Look, we send the government $80 billion a year. So if you take whatever you take from us, we're gonna take that back from what we send you," which is a hell of a plan. You know, Oakland is fifth largest economy in the world. I mean, not Oakland, California. So they've already filed attorney.
Slow down, Doug. Oakland has what? I mean, California has the what?
The fifth largest economy in the world, California.
Are you sure about that, Doug?
Look into those numbers. We have tech. We have a lot of startup companies, but you can look that number up. But getting back here locally, we have had a recall on the previous mayor of Oakland, and in addition to that, we had the recall of the district attorney, which I supported them both, but unfortunately, they did not do a good job. So we just had Barbara Lee run for mayor. She was a congresswoman. She when Bush had that war, started that war in Iraq, she was the only person on the floor that went against it, and now she is our mayor. One of the things that I would like to tell Danny and Mr. Robert Dashiell is that we have to. You are perfectly correct when you say we need to get another party in, because both parties come in, whether it be Republicans or Democrats. They come to our Black community. They spend a few dollars, buy a few sandwiches, a couple of cups of coffee, and then once they get the vote,
They're gone.
then you don't see them for another 2 to 4 years. What we have done here in the Bay Area is that I'm part of the Alameda County Democratic Central Committee. The person who ran against Barbara Lee, his name was Lauren Taylor, and we do our research. And I think you've heard me talk about him before.
Yeah, you said he was a handkerchief head.
He took over $400,000 in MAGA money, and I blasted him apart all over the place. I made sure I had my numbers correct. $400,000. I even put it on my LinkedIn and Facebook page that if MAGA or its supporters give you $400,000, I put down there, we're going to have Trump and we're going to have Elon running Oakland. We're going to have Trump and Elon running Oakland. So in addition to that, I've been going down to the neighborhood stores where the young brothers are hanging out. And the biggest thing here, Donnie, Robert, and Danny, we got to stop being afraid of these young Black men. When I come down there, they call me Triple OG. I'm 62. And I talk to them about getting together blocks of votes so that we can have political power here in the city. I explain to them the reason why the hills and white people have good running, clean streets and nice parks and stuff is because the politicians have a big map. And they could tell you how many people in that house voted, how many people in that neighborhood voted, and how many people in that community voted. So when they did the maps of the flatlands here in Oakland, it came up to 15, maybe 30% of people who can vote voted. But if you look at the map up in the white land, they have 75 to 90%. 75.
You know why? Because Black people are busy doing, whoa, I got my boots on the ground.
Well, I made a deal with the young brothers. I said, if the next election, I'm going to bring down voter registration cards. A couple of brothers said, man, well, I got out of jail. I said, in California, they've changed some of the laws here to where if you have served your time, you can vote. So it was just educating and getting a new block of voters out there to really start directing our local politics. Because on the national level, the voters made their call. He got the majority of the I can't think of it, but he got the popular vote. And
let me shift over here to Mr. Dashiell. Mr. Dashiell, any thoughts on ICE in California? Because Black women said after Kamala did not get voted for, don't ask us for sugar honey iced tea. Don't ask us to support nothing, not Latinos, not LGBTQ, not don't ask us to support nothing.
That's right.
Well, Donnie, some things change and some things don't, and snakes are still snakes. And you got to know that when they thaw out, no matter what hue, they're gonna bite you. That's because that's what snakes do. So I don't know why Black women are so upset that their white counterparts voted white, because that's all they know how to do. That's what they were born. They were born white. They weren't born part of a woman's movement. They weren't born Democrat or Republican. They were born white. And they're gonna do, when the issue is white or Black, they're gonna do what white people do. All of them, regardless of gender. So the problem, one of the problems is that the politicians that take the Black community for granted most is not the Izzies of the world, it's the Black people of the world. They're the ones who say to us, vote for me and support me just because of the color of my skin. Don't worry about the content of my character. Don't worry about the intellect. Don't worry about anything. All you got to know is I look like you, so therefore you must support me. That's where the problem begins in our community.
That's right.
And as
You
far
speak out,
as far as ICE is concerned, yeah, Trump has thrown all illegal immigrants into the same barrel, and he does that, but by intention. He's a master of obfuscation. He's a master of gaslighting. He's a con artist. He knows how to run the shell game better than anybody. He's got everybody thinking that if you're illegal immigrants, that you're all the same. They're not all the same. Some have been here 20 years and paid taxes and had a family. Some just got here. But all of them should. The courts have said that each and every one of them should have an opportunity to explain themselves. Because at the end of the day, the court can find you guilty, but we know that everybody guilty don't get the same sentence. Everybody guilty don't get the same sentence. Then you call it allocution. So the people who no, I'm not concerned about immigration. The immigration may be on the list of things, but I'm concerned about unification within the Black community. Until we do that, none of these other issues will we be successful in dealing with.
So,
you know what?
as you were saying about Black people who want Black politicians who want them to vote, want Black people to vote for them, give them a pass. Does this apply to our governor?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it applies to every elected. In fact, the only one that I could possibly think of an exception who actually goes out every day that I know of and speaks to the issues affecting the Black community on a priority basis is the Sister Crockett from Texas.
Wow.
But the fact of the matter is that most of them got to their positions following the path that was laid out for them by white folk.
Do white people still pick our leaders?
Absolutely. But that's by default, Danny, because we don't spend time picking our own. We don't spend time.
Oh no, we supported West. We supported West when he was in single digits when Francho was waxing that ASS.
Yeah, but we didn't pick West. We didn't know West. Some of us knew the other Westmore, but none of us really knew this Westmore.
He didn't know himself.
Pardon?
He didn't know himself.
Yeah, maybe so. I didn't know him before he even though he went to school. As I understand it, he was a grade or two ahead of my daughter at Hopkins and all of that. She didn't know him that well, and I didn't know him at all. And frankly, I don't know him. I don't know him at all today. We've never shared a cup of coffee together. We've never been to each other's home. We never even played a round of golf together. So I don't know him in that sense. But I know that he did not come of me. I can't go there. I can't call up grandma and say, you remember that little boy who used to come to the house? I don't know anybody like that. And so if we don't start raising our own, Danny, we got to stop complaining because we can't turn them around once they get in a position of authority. We can't keep this notion of, okay, we'll put them there and once they get there, they're going to do what's right. If we ain't got no evidence that they've ever done what's right for us, if we ain't got no evidence that they've ever done it, then it's crazy to believe that all of a sudden there's going to be this transformation. There's going to be this metamorphosis that all of a sudden by grace, things are going to change in our favor. It don't happen that way.
Can I
piggyback?
Let me piggyback off of that. That was like the brother who was running out here, Lauren Taylor. Now, I'm from deep East Oakland. I'm from the Flatland. This brother grew up in the hills, in a silver spoon, and he's handpicked by the same people who have been pimping this city. And so that was, and that is why I was so adamant about making sure that I did my research, pointed out that this man is getting MAGA money, and he's going to bring this city to his knees for the Black people. And Barbara Lee, who has been a representative in Congress for over 20 plus years, who brought billions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars into this city. But we have to do our homework as Mr. Robert Dashiell said, we got to do our homework because we got the token, and I won't use the N word, but we got the token people out there who come out there and go, hey, man, right on. I'm just like you. I grew up in Oakland. There's the flatlands in Oakland, and there's the hills of Oakland. And if we don't start understanding, as Mr. Dashiell just said here,
it's Dashiell.
Oh, Mr. Dashiell, I'm sorry, Mr. Dashiell.
Yeah,
but if we don't
keep wearing that out, he gonna. You don't want Big Dog like, look, man.
Yeah, no, I see that look on his face. I apologize, sir.
You don't want that King Corso to come out.
Well, I've been up all night with this issue with the family, but Robert, Danny, and Doni. Robert, you hit the head, hammer on the head, because we have to start raising our own politicians who are going to do what they say and say what they're going to do, because it's not happening like that now. White people are pouring in millions of dollars to make sure if they can't get their people in, they're going to get a token in, and they're going to still get what they want. Thank you.
You know, you think about someone who really has done things for the Black community. I think of the mayor of DC, Marion Barry. He was someone who really looked out for Blacks. He really looked out
for him. It was a mutual relationship.
It was a relationship. And the only way you're going to get someone who you really can depend on, they have to be someone that came up through the grassroots. Someone, like you said, who people know, who've known them from, them being a kid, growing up, being active in the church, being active in the community. Those are the kind of people that you can really depend on, or really can have a good feeling about when they go to these higher offices. When you don't have someone like that, what Wes Moore did, he did what was similar to Donald Trump. Donald Trump wasn't a politician. He was a businessman. So he came in there like
a bad one.
And a bad one. And he came in there like that. Those kind of things like that. So, by him being a white guy, it's what took him over the hill. A Black person would have never happened. So you can see the big contrast right there. Those things don't happen. Black folks vote for white folks. White folks don't vote for Black folks.
That's not true. They voted for Barack Obama. Let me go to this.
Different circumstances, Donnie. That's a whole different circumstance.
You just said white people don't vote for Black people. They voted for Barack Obama.
That was a different circumstance. I mean, sure, there's exceptions. There's exceptions, Donnie. Yeah. But as a whole, Donnie.
What's wrong with Black people on Liberty Road? That's what I want to know. Let's start right there.
Well, you can. Yeah, you can. You know who's out here. You know who our elected folks are out here. Have you spoken to them? Have you spoken to the speaker? Have you spoken to the senator? Have you spoken to the delegates? Have you spoken to the councilman?
I'm trying to reach out to Julian Jones.
You see what I'm saying? That's what runs things out here, Donnie. You know that. And
well, y'all ain't running it. Apparently, they not running it.
Well,
if you got all of that weight, hold up. If you got Ben Brooks, Speaker Jones, Julian Jones, you got all of that Black powerhouse, and you let Izzy Patoka come out there and take your money, y'all ain't got no power.
Once again, every one of that you spoke of that I just mentioned, you know who they are. You ask them what's going on. They're the power brokers.
Oh, I'm not asking you to speak for them. I'm just saying.
Do you see them? Do you see them? Do you see them where they need to be seen at? Do you hear them when they need to talk about it?
Apparently not.
Well, I mean, there it is then, Donnie. I mean, this is the things that we deal with out here, but because people aren't engaged enough,
Oh, y'all don't know that slavery is the noose of slavery is being hung around the neck of Randallstown.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. Not just Randallstown, Catonsville too. With this map, what they're doing, they're taking folks out of Catonsville and moving them to Randallstown. Them white folks are going crazy. They drew a map. and he took part of Catonsville away. Pat Young and Signal and them are getting beat up because they are so focused on the county executive seat and all that, and all this is taking place right before their eyes. And this is what's going on right now. You'll see it when it's all said and done. Part of Catonsville is going to be taken away and moved to different areas, and it's going to be moved to Randallstown.
Mr. Dashiell, no wonder these kids ain't got no respect for us. They look at us as suckers.
They, as Hannibal Lecter once said, you covet what you see, right? And you're right. The kids are watching us, and they're watching what we do far more than what they're listening to what we say. We've said to our generation for years, "Don't do what I do, do what I say," and they say, "No, we're gonna watch what you do because if what you said meant anything, you'd be doing it." So we gonna watch what you do, and we're gonna look at, and we're gonna evaluate for ourselves the relative success of what you do. And when we see that what you do has landed you where you are, we're going in a different direction because we don't want to be there. We don't want to be there. We need role models. I said to my good friend Al Hathaway just yesterday. They got some new money available, so they want to help put some training for people for returning citizens. I said that's great. I'm happy to do that. I've had returning citizens in my own family, but the fact of the matter is, we got to help the ones who are here now. We got to. If all of your focus is forever on the bottom, you never talk to the ones in the middle, and they're the ones at the bottom look up to. So what am I trying to say? Go to those black families where they still have to work 2 and 3 jobs to keep the roof over their head, and figure out a way that they can function as a family without having to do that. Once you create that model, the other people will aspire to that. Black folks ain't aspiring to be like Oprah. They understand they're never going to have Oprah's money. They understand we're never going to have Jeff Bezos' money. They don't want that. They just want to be able to come home, know that there's food on the table, know that the rent or mortgage is paid, the repo man ain't going to be there in the morning taking their car, and the kids are home safe, asleep, and ready to go to school the next day. That's all most people want. That's all they want. But we lose sight of that and keep going there. Well, we don't help the person coming out of jail. That's fine, but the greatest help is to create a life model that they can follow, not to give them a check for $500. Because at the end of the day, Donnie, the real issue is not going to be black or white at all. It's all about the dollar.
That's right.
It's all about the dollar. At the end of the day, we will lead but other people have to understand they have to get in line. What I say, I don't say directly and only in specific for black folk, as though black folk are the only folk that are affected by this system that we call capitalism. But somebody has to lead. And whenever you have a leader, that means somebody got to get in line. And we have to trust one another enough to get in line and stay there, and stop acting like if you ain't in the front, you ain't gonna get through the door. Everybody ain't gonna get to the door at the same time. The door is not made wide enough for that to happen. We're designed to act in unison. That means we gotta line up. Gotta line up.
That's right. And Donnie, you made a point earlier about they voted for Barack Obama. Yeah, that's on a national level. I'm talking about local politics. At the local levels, it doesn't happen like that. It doesn't happen like that. White folks do not support black folks at the local level. Very few do.
There's some black politicians that
Can I compliment you, Robert, about what you said? Returning citizens, returning resident. Because the objective of the correctional institution is have the black person coming out of prison, because we know there's more black than any other people going to prison in this country. It's called them parolees and returning criminal. No, we need to call them what they are. They served their time. They're
actually, they don't like the term returning citizens. They go by formerly incarcerated.
Well, I talked to a couple of brothers who were on the show over the last 3 years, and he said in California they want to be called returning residents.
Who cares what to call them? Go ahead, man. It don't matter. It rose by any other name is
Support
what.
them. Just support them.
But I thought you go make your point, Doug. You're muted now. At least it looks.
My point is, we have to change the mindset of returning residents, and we need to support them, and like you said, create a model of what works and what doesn't work, because what we're doing now is not working. When I go down in the flatlands of Oakland, I can go down there anytime, day or night, and if a lot more of us OGs would start talking to these young people and talking to them and then telling them about voting, about job training programs, about the political aspect, I think we would have a much better outcome for success for the returning resident, and also create a new a block of voters who can change elections. Last election in Oakland, California, Lauren Taylor lost by 678 votes. So every vote does count, and an informed voter will make an informed decision about who they want representing them. Because when Lauren Taylor ran, who was the previous mayor, and I call her Libby Shab, but my nickname for her is Lobby Libby Shab, she donated money into his campaign, and he was going to make her the city administrator, and she took a program that a Black woman designed about 30 years ago. It was called Promise. Black woman in a flatland school said, look, if you kids graduate from high school, I'm going to figure out how to pay for your college. Libby came in there, and I don't even call her mayor. Libby came in there, took the program, called it Oakland Promise, and she got companies like Salesforce, Pacific Gas and Electric, Clorox, and she's amassed over $60 million. And I went to the NAACP here in Oakland, which about a year ago, I did a press conference against them because they gave this woman an award. And when I asked the executives of how many students, specifically Black students, did she put through college? And you know what? They said, oh, we don't know. But she got $60+ million. So it's really sad.
Mr. Dashiell, Danny, Doug, isn't it true that Black people are disenfranchised? And because we're disenchanted with politics, we said the hell with it. There's a group of Black people said the hell with it. They're going to do what they want to do.
Well, that's an excuse for laziness.
Yep.
You see, because education, like anything else, if you want it, you got to work for it. You can't depend on CBS or CNN or ABC or none of them to tell you what the truth is. If you want to know the truth, you got to do some digging. You got to do some reading. You got to do some researching. You can't sit home on the couch with your feet up with a spoon waiting for somebody to put something in it so you can swallow it. Because what they give you to swallow ain't going to be Kool-Aid, okay? It's going to be crack for the most part. So no, that in 1964, in a gathering, Malcolm's famous speech at the ballot or the bullet. The choices are the same. The choices haven't changed in 50 years. It's going to be the ballot or the bullet or some combination thereof. But in order to use them, we got to learn. You're not born rifleman, and you're not born Democrat or Republican, right? You got to spend some time educating yourself. You got to be willing to make at least that bare minimum commitment, because believe it or not, this thing called democracy isn't designed to work. Won't work as we intended, as we want it to, without an informed, intelligent electorate. But if you got a group of people waiting for hang on every word that Donald Trump says, and you know he's lying because his lips are moving, if you got a group of people who's hanging back, and I'm not talking about just white, I'm talking about black folk. You'd be surprised, Donnie, how
No,
many
I
black.
ain't, man. I was in New Orleans and a black Trumpster damn near beat me up.
Yeah. So that's why I said I mean I don't mean to be a downer to cool cold water on on anybody's parade, but the fact of the matter is the good Lord said there will be a remnant. That means there will be a bunch of folk who didn't make it. And if he couldn't bring everybody or save everybody, that's way above my pay grade.
All right,
So
so
I'm not going.
we've not talked about this topic much at all on this show. Any thoughts, Mr. Dashiell, on Sean Combs?
My only thought is I could care less. Sean Diddy or P Diddy or whatever Combs is one man. He is what he is not because he's black. He is what he is not because he's 5'7" or whatever his height is. He is what he is because of who he is. I don't speak for him. I didn't live his life, and I'm not his and I'm not being paid to be his attorney. And there's a whole lot of people, black folk out here and white people out here who deserve a lot more attention than Sean Diddy Combs. That's all I'm ever going to say about that.
This trial is
you
all
know,
over. Y'all ain't got nothing to say other than that.
I ain't got nothing to say about it. All I can say about it is that
It's a damn shame, is what it is.
He's going to expose. He's going to expose all those people.
He got the rock. You know, he had the rock, had him all compromised. Because we got watched them cats with all of them damn muscles. They soft as butter. What's going on?
So, so you know that the Maryland Democratic Party.
Fruit fight. That little girl Cassie had more balls than everybody except Jaguar Wright.
She did.
Jaguar Wright been telling this truth all along. They say DMX was telling the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I tell you, down south, they say them rapper dudes in New York, keep them away from your sons, not your daughters.
I've heard that too.
Well, P. Diddy, I have to agree with Mr. Robert that if half the stuff that's been alleged in court by witnesses, he ought to be ashamed of himself, and something needs to happen.
His mama's ashamed of him.
A whole lot of other people too. I've listened to some of the court conversations and read some things, and this man was something, and it wasn't something good.
He had some allies too. Monique put it out there, said Tyler Perry and Oprah right there in that same damn boat.
TD Jake, all of them.
They said nobody want to say nothing about Oprah because they put a hit on you out there, and you won't get no business. You won't get no phone calls.
TD Jake stepped down.
Oprah paint this picture of she's about empowerment. Say Oprah's a pimp.
she's rich.
Y'all remember when she was in Baltimore?
Mm-hmm.
We used to represent Oprah when she was in Baltimore. That is my firm, and I counseled Oprah on her negotiations of her contract with Channel 13 back in the day.
That's when she had the afro.
Yes.
That was Richard Scher's girl.
Richard Scher, they were paying her half of what Jerry Turner was making, and she was doing this program with Richard Scher. She was in the garages at night showing there were no cars. She was in front of the police station claiming that they were inside when the building was dark. She was wherever they sent her, but they were paying her half of what Jerry Turner made, and she was co-anchor with him. those are the days when I used to provide counseling to her, and I told her, trust me, go in and demand what Jerry Turner gets, or and tell them that you're going to leave the station. She said, but I trust me, do what I'm saying, and she did it, and she never looked back.
Mhm.
Sly
What do you think
Stone.
about Sly Stone? Now I was about to say that too.
Oh,
Yeah,
that was your
Sly Stone.
era, Danny. Mr. Bob, you remember
No,
Sly Stone?
Absolutely,
I remember Sly
absolutely.
Stone. I got turned on to Sly Stone. If you want me to stay, I remember that cut back in the '70s. That was a that I was hooked with his music then.
Yeah, we've lost so many. We've lost so much talent in that era. From that era, Sly, Minnie Riperton, uh, Roberta recently, Donnie years
Yes.
before. Uh, so, I mean,
It's a family affair.
yep, yep. It's a family affair.
And remember, that's right. Remember the cut Stan? Stan?
Yeah, yeah. That's right,
That was a good
Stan.
cut
That's
too.
right. That's right. That's right. That's right. How old was he?
Yeah.
80, 81?
So what I
Was
want
that
82.
82?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
82 years old.
And that's
So
a
the
nice life considering how many entertainers get cut short. Even our athletes. I heard someone talking last night that black athletes go into pro sports singularly focused on being the best baseball player, basketball player. And this is a black man talking. And his contrast was, he says, white people, they go into professional sports uh not as their plan, they've got a backup plan. But I guess his point was that we get so excited about making it to the pros, but we kind of get stuck there as opposed to seeing the bigger picture on one's trajectory, which is being financially stable
Mhm.
and physically and mentally healthy. You look at this young lady. There was some social media about it. Dawn Robinson. She said she had been living in her car for 2 years.
Mhm.
That's not something that we regularly talk about. What is the state of our mental health, Danny?
That's a great point there because one of the women from the group called In Vogue is that she
In
was
vogue,
sleeping in her
yeah.
car for a couple years as well.
Dawn
And
Robinson.
yeah, yeah, you said athletes. That's kind of threw me off a little bit. But
Athletes,
yeah,
entertainers.
yeah, yeah,
We
that
have
was a
this
sad
we have this
story.
celebrity
Sad
worship
story.
in our community that's dangerous. Our kids want to be Jay-Z. Hell, some
Mm,
adults want to be Jay-Z. Do you really want to be I mean, after all of this Diddy mess, Doug, do we really want to be a celebrity?
mm, mm, mm.
No, the answer is no. We don't want to be a celebrity, but we want to be, but we do want to be a success. And our problem is we don't even define that for ourselves. We don't even define for ourselves what success really means. So we
Mhm.
have, and as I said earlier, you covet what you see, right? And so if you see the pathway to that, real or imagined, that being the greatest baseball player or the great, don't be the greatest Tuskegee Airman, because you're going to be erased from history if that's true. But but
Mm.
but let me make this.
You can't skate over there. Say that.
I said you don't want to be a Tuskegee Airman, because then the history will not ever record that you ever got in the cockpit of a plane. According to Donald Trump and his DEI policy, they've deleted, they've directed the Air Force to delete reference to the Tuskegee Airmen from the history. just like the Army was going to delete the reference to Jackie Robinson, just like the Smithsonian was directed to delete even Harriet Tubman's Bible. And now some are questioning, some like Alex Smith saying Harriet Tubman was a fictional character, never even lived. So, but the point, we got to keep.
He didn't live just like the Gulf of America does not live.
Right, right. Donnie, I have to say this. We have to be very, very careful in how we describe what we know about what's going on in our community and limit what we say to what we do know. Because as little as we know about our real history, we know even less about what's really going on in our community. And so I don't like to say, and sometimes I do it, that we want to add credibility by speaking with a much broader bandwidth of knowledge than what we really have. I don't need to say that all black people do this in order to. I'm not going to say that all black people do this just to get you to listen to what I have to say. If you listen or you don't, the choice is yours. But I believe that somewhere and all over this country there are 4 black men doing exactly what we're doing right now. We just don't know who they are. I'm willing to believe that all across this world there are black people doing exactly what we're doing right now, trying to figure out the best way forward. But we just don't know who they are. And the reason why we don't know who they are is because we don't control the mode of communication. But I got enough faith and confidence to believe that they exist. And one of these days we will meet.
Doug, are you optimistic about the future?
Oh, absolutely. And I think what everyone is saying here is very critical. Social media has allowed us to become more educated to facts versus fiction. One of the things that when I was doing the Black Business Roundtable and get back on it, the mass media does not want to see intelligent argument and engagement like we're doing here and now. They don't want to hear us talking about getting people to vote, signing people up to vote, understanding the politics in your neighborhood, talking to young people. As Robert said, they got to start reading and becoming educated on what's real and what's not. So social media has helped elevate and reach a broader audience, but we still have mass media, these big corporations. They want to show black people breaking in, doing things. They don't want to show lawyers and doctors and accountants. And then that puts it, and the bigger thing here is when you have someone from another country come here and see intelligent, articulate black people, the first thing they say is, well, that's not what they show on TV. And it's really sad. It's really sad. It's not. I thought you guys, all you want to do is drink 40s and have your pants sagging down and walk around smoking blunts.
Danny, are you optimistic about Black America?
I am optimistic about Black America. I'm always trying to think positive and hopeful and praying that we come together.
Danny, you sound sad. You don't sound excited.
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited. Let me tell you, the look on my face is because I just read hot off the press that Baltimore Sun just put out just now, just hit my phone, that the Baltimore County Redistricting Commission narrowly approved a new non-district map that I was talking about earlier. They had a meeting last night and they approved that darn map, and there it is. And now it's got to go to, and I don't mean to get off topic, but
no, stay there. I thought the map was illegal, though. That's what
no, they just they put a commission. They put a commission together, and the commission made a new map.
Was it any different than the map that the council came up with?
It was the map is very similar to the map that Izzy, Mike Quatel, and 3 other Republicans did in the back. So what they did was they threw it out, but they renamed it, reconfigured it a little bit, but it looks sort of just like the map that they had originally. The ACLU was actually the ACLU's map. It's just bad.
So Republicans run Baltimore County.
No, well, what happened? Well, let me put it to you this way: the
Doug,
Republicans were
understand this
majority.
is a minority county when it comes to Republicans. It's mostly Democrats out there,
It's 2-1.
but they just the Republicans just took the Democrats' money.
Well, the deal was
Since
you were talking about Izzy Pataka was the chair of the Baltimore County Council when that happened. Izzy Pataka, Mike Cretell, and 3 Republicans. They sided with the 3 Republicans to have a supermajority to make this happen. And that's the same thing they're going to do again when they get this map from the commission. They're going to go back because the Republicans aren't budging because that map favors them. And, that's where we are. That's reality. Isn't that right, Mr. Dashiell? That's pretty much what happened.
Yeah, that is what happened.
They took your money.
I mean, that's what's happened.
They didn't take it. We gave it away. We didn't take it. We gave it away.
I like to say, I like what Mr. Dashiell say. We gave it to them. We went to them 3 years ago. 3 years ago, we went to Julian Jones 3 years ago for 4 more, and they said no.
And Julian Jones wants to be your county executive. How's that going to work?
4 more. Remember that, guys. 4 more. We went to him. We said, "You want to make history? You want to make history?" 3 years ago. Let's make 11 districts. They said no, and now this is the outcome.
And he wants to be the county executive.
And this is the outcome. You can't make this stuff up. We went to him 3 years ago. And you've asked him that question, Donnie. What did he say to you when you asked him about that?
He said he had to go out of town.
And then we had another meeting at the Randallstown Community Center.
I was there, wasn't I? I left Sandtown to come all the way up there to see my cousins on Liberty Road. Doug, that's about 8 miles away. Went all the way out there to the county. And I tell you, Liberty Road drivers are the worst. I just want to do a public service announcement. Stay the hell off Liberty Road if you can't drive. Thank you.
Oh, he's absolutely correct. Oh my gosh, you hit that on the head. That traffic on Liberty Road is just horrendous. The drivers are horrible. Donnie, I'd like to meet your cousins. I'd like to meet your cousins that live out here. I really would. Give them my number.
They often call me on who to vote for.
Okay.
And that's why I'm so hard on
and you
this.
gave them, and you who did you tell? What did you tell them? What did you tell them?
Well, they haven't asked me that as of late. But they have asked me in the past. And I commend them for asking, but I also push them to go and learn. And my sister, God rest her soul, I remember Dan Moheim coming to her house.
That's what they do.
Well, no, he sat at
they
the
will
table.
Come and knock on your door.
Dan came in and sat in and had lunch with her. And I'll never forget that because that's the kind of servant leader Dan Moheim is.
But he's some other things. He's some other things too.
All right. What is he?
He's some other things too. Just leave it at that. He didn't leave. Look, he didn't leave the General Assembly for nothing.
Well, Donnie, what you said is true.
You trying to say that? You trying to say he took a bribe?
No, I didn't. No, I'm not saying that at all. I said he saw bigger aspirations. Let's leave it at that.
Well, Donnie, what you said is true. Sometimes people don't have the knowledge to engage in the political process.
No, we busy doing boots on the ground. Whoa, I got my boots on the ground. Ain't been in their PTA meeting. Don't know nothing about the Liberty Road Business Association. Ain't paid no attention that you got a new state senator that Ben Brooks didn't replace Dolores Kelly. They cried about Dolores Kelly for years, including some of my friends. And I told them, Dolores is a boss. You just ain't gonna take a boss's money.
I see that look on your face, Mr. Shields. It is what it is, guys.
Because Dolores Kelly was about her work. She was my professor.
She was. Absolutely, she was. But you know, you got to get to the grassroots. When you write a book, you got to write the good and the not so good. You got to write it all.
Well,
you got to write the whole story.
Like,
Paul Harvey said, "Get the rest of the story."
And the rest of the story. Ella White Campbell was
phenomenal. But she did her thing. But the rest of her story is what she split. But Dr. Campbell, she was my mentor. I mean, Ella White Campbell, she was my mentor when I came to Randallstown. But what she did though was she separated the NAACP.
Oh, that's happening out here in Oakland. The NAACP.
She separated the NAACP. She got a lot of great legacy, phenomenal woman, love her to death. But when they didn't get the person they wanted to be the Baltimore County NAACP chair, they started one in Randallstown, and it's still that way today. And that's a major problem.
Undo it.
Major problem. Dead. They had a biggie. But
she's dead. Undo it.
Ryan Coleman is now not the right. So now that part is going to be starting to be worked on now. But look what we went through though, Donnie, is my point.
Okay, well, you're here now. Then bring them together.
There you go. Yeah, let me meet your cousins. I want to bring them together too.
Well, gentlemen,
maybe they want to run for the Central Committee. I'm on the Central Committee, Doug.
I like the way you say you want to meet my cousins. You know, I'm from Baltimore, so
I'm from Brooklyn. I mean, it's all the same.
You're a long way from Brooklyn, Papa.
No, but you got Brooklyn in you too. You there a lot.
I love Brooklyn.
I know you. You look like you love Brooklyn.
Gentlemen,
good morning, world. Thank you.
Have a great day.
Hey, man, I appreciate each and every one of you. You guys are great.
I'm gonna have Dolores Kelly knock on your door today.
I love her.
Bye-bye.
She's scared.
It's been a pleasure, gentlemen.